Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order, and I'd like to welcome everyone here. It's great to see a full council meeting tonight. We have quite a number of items on the agenda tonight. So as we go through some of the delegations, it's possible that some people will come and go or leave after their delegation. So we'll just work through this. So the first item is any declaration of pecuniary interest. If so, declare it now. I have one. It is item 12B2, structural grant number H13 for McDonald Chiropractor, 12 Lord Street, South Harrison. And my reason for a declaration is it's my daughter and son-in-law. So thank you. So we're going to report out of closed session. Resolution moved by Councillor Potnovitz, seconded by Councillor Elliott. Council receives the closed session report regarding a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land, the Palmerston Industrial Park, and further that the council approves the confidential direction given to staff. All in favor of that motion? That's carried. Thank you. Resolution moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Zimmerman, that the minutes of the Town of Minto, May 7th, 2024 regular council meeting and May 7th, 2024 closed session meeting be approved. All in favor of that motion? That's carried. Got a resolution moved by Councillor Potnovitz, seconded by Councillor Dirksen, that the Town of Minto Council convene into Committee of the Whole. All in favor of that motion? That's carried as well. So we have no public meetings, but we do have 3 delegations this evening. Actually, we have 4. So what I would like to do is just be clear on our delegations. Our delegations have 10 minutes, and the mic is at the podium, and I'd like whoever the speakers are to step up to the mic, state your name, and speak clear. Because we have an audience out there that watch this each week after the meetings. So, Ron, Councillor Elliott, would you be kind enough to? I sure will. Work with me on this. Yep. Thank you, Quinn. So our first delegation this evening is folks in our community. We bring our students that excel, students, yeah, our sports people or anybody that excels that wins a provincial championship trophy, university, college, Palmerston 81s are here tonight. So this is fairly self-explanatory. So the first one's for Leah Herford. Leah is no stranger, having joined us last year to be recognized as a member of the World University Games Championship hockey team. She's here again tonight to be recognized as a member of the University of Waterloo varsity hockey team, the University of Waterloo. The Warriors won their first OUA championship back in March, beating the University of Toronto in overtime. From there, they played in the University Sports Women's Hockey Championships in Saskatoon, placing 4th after a shootout loss to Montreal in the bronze medal game. Leah, please come up. So as this stated, Leah's been here before. She's been a great advocate of our town. She's not just in hockey, right? So presentation, Ron?
Yeah, congratulations.
So this certificate of recognition is presented to, excuse me, Leah, can we open that just for a second? Presented to Leah Herford in recognition of her outstanding achievement, OUA Macaw Cup champions.
Thank you.
You want to get the minute? Leah, you've done this before.
Yes.
Would you like to say a word or two?
I guess I can. There's not much to say. Obviously, hockey's not a single person sport. So I have to thank my teammates, my coaches, my family, all the generous donors, and the athletics department at Waterloo because they put it all in place. We obviously can't afford to do it all ourselves. So yeah, I have to thank them, and that's probably it.
Perfect. So I remember last year you thanked your dad, but he's not here. So, but thank you very much, Leah, and good luck.
Thank you.
So the Minto Selects. The Minto Selects are synonymous in winning. This elite men's broomball team has represented the town well on provincial, national, and international stage in recent years. In 2022, the team made quite an impression by winning the World Broomball Championship in Kingston. This year, the team won more hardware emerging victorious at the 2024 FBAO Elite Men's Provincials in Fergus. So joining us tonight to accept this certificate is their coach, Archie Wilson. So Archie, I'm not sure why you didn't bring any of these guys. What's that saying to us?
They're not as busy as me this time of year. That's the real truth, right? No.
So Archie?
Yep.
So if you don't mind, this certificate of recognition presented to the Minto Selects men's broomball team in recognition of your outstanding achievement, 2024 FBAO Elite Men's Broomball Provincial Champions. FBAO, can you give us that acronym meaning?
Federation of Broomball Associations of Ontario.
Sounds simple. Do you want to say a few words?
I don't need that, though. My voice carries well. Right?
Not,
They can hear me in the
Zoom,
back.
it won't.
Yeah.
We do need the microphone.
What's
Sorry,
that?
We need the microphone, it
So
won't
it
carry over
goes,
the
goes
line.
on the.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. There's people watching that aren't here. Now I'm nervous. I guess a couple things. I want to thank the town of Minto for the support we've had for the sport of broomball. I started playing broomball in 1994 in the town of Palmerston with the Palmerston Rookies, and over the number of years, that's 30, I guess now. There's been great support from the town for the sport, which has helped us do well. Like a bunch of the players that are now on this team were in the juvenile team that went to the nationals, and we got a silver. Unfortunately, me and a group of those guys have 4 silvers at the nationals now, so we want to change that. We're going to go back next year. Winning provincials lets us go back again. So we hope to bring home the real hardware for the town. But thank you for the support you've given to the sport of broomball. Thank you.
One picture.
Oh, sorry. I don't really look that photogenic because this one. Look at this guy. Come on.
Congratulations. So the 81s, Palmerston 81s. To conclude, we welcome Blair Buschert and Denver Hill, Ryan Litt, Stevie Grant, and Riley Cribben, members of our local Minto 81s hockey team. The 81s had a tremendous season, winning the inaugural OEHL, the Ontario Elite Hockey League Championship. The team beat some familiar foes along the way. The playoff run included a tough 6-game series win over Seaforth in the first round and a 4-game sweep of Tavistock Royals in the finals. In the championship clinching game, Riley couldn't be stopped and put 4 past the Tavistock goalie in a 5-2 win. Gentlemen, please come up.
Okay, I get to say a few words about that. I can't understand with Blair here, my grandson. I would say I was at most of the games, probably 95% of the games that I made too. I made it all through the whole playoff round. These guys were amazing. They're gentlemen. They're great for our community. The effort and the heart that they put into that final series. The year before, Tavistock put us out of the playoffs, and many people were saying that the 81s wouldn't win a game. Well, Tavistock didn't win a game. So they turned things around, great ambassadors for our community, and did wonderful things for us. And that's next year, if we win again, we can go through the Hardy Cup. And Hardy Cup would represent all of Canada, so they could become Canadian champions if they win the Ontario Championships. So, okay, congratulations.
So this certificate of recognition presented to the 81s. Ron, I need to read that, sorry. Presented to the Minto 81s in recognition of your outstanding achievement, Ontario Elite Hockey League Champions. Congratulations. Congratulations. Good luck. Good luck next year. I want to get a picture. So can we move around a little bit, Ron? You stand on the far side. Oh, Denver. Oh, sorry. Who wants to say a few words? Denver?
I didn't write anything here either, so, but no, again, small town feels it's, in the finals there when there's no seats in the rink, means a lot. A pile of money, effort, volunteers and sponsors, it, yeah, definitely felt it, so thanks.
Okay. Thanks again and congratulations. Or do we want to go all the way down? I didn't think so. All right. Thank you. Just going down there.
Oh, the mic, yeah, just hand it to
So we have 4 empty seats up here for the taking. So next delegation, we have the 3 mayors golf tournaments, the groups, and I'm going to ask Tanya Robertson to introduce. And same thing, introduce yourself and talk into the mic, please.
Good evening, Mayor Turton and members of council. Tonight, we have the recipients of the upcoming Mayor's Charity Golf Tournament coming before you to introduce their organization and let you know what they will be using the funds they receive from the tournament for. This year, we have 3 organizations benefiting from the tournament. We will begin with the Clifford Rotary Club, followed by Big Brothers Big Sisters of North Wellington, and end off with the Palmerston Railway Heritage Museum.
Thank you. Greetings from the Clifford Rotary Club. We are Rotarians Trish Ritz and Randy Ritz, and we're part of the executive of our club. We wanted to take a minute to thank the town of Minto, Mayor Dave Turton, and of course the golf committee for all their hard work and the privilege of participating in this year's golf tournament. The Clifford Rotary Club is actually celebrating their 80th anniversary in June, and we look forward to serving the community for many more years. We will be using our share of the proceeds from the golf tournament towards one of our larger projects, a cement pad at John Hubbleman Park in Clifford. We're hoping to have some handicap parking, cleaner handicap parking, as well as we're looking into having it double as a outdoor pickleball court. It's going to be a cleaner service for the handicap parking part of our truck show. This year has been a very busy year for our club, and we've got a lot of projects on the go. Just finished another large project, which is the LED sign in Clifford. Unfortunately, we're driving through to come to this meeting, and the sign is in darkness, so I'm hoping it's not too serious. And we've got a lot of other projects going on. So thank you, and we look forward to it.
Okay, Mayor, council members, and guests. My name is Mary Ann Christie, and I am the Executive Director and Match Coordinator for Big Brothers Big Sisters, of North Wellington.
And I'm Warren Grine, a board member of the Big Brothers for North Wellington.
Okay. So we are happy to be here and delighted that we were chosen as one of the groups to be part of the Minto Mayor's Golf Tournament in August. Our organization runs 3 mentoring programs where we match children and youth between the ages of 6 and 18 years old to volunteer mentors. So the children in our program develops a relationship with a caring individual who supports them, listens to them through their challenging times and good times, all while they spend quality time together. The children and youth learn coping skills that reduce the effects of trauma and also experience new opportunities. These experiences teach children to be more resilient in their daily life. And I know that we all know what it's like to have someone that we can turn to be there and to support us. And with the higher risk of youth experiencing mental health challenges, it is even more important for children and youth to have that as well. So the funds that we receive from the golf will go directly to running the programs and matching every child that needs a mentor. In 2023, we had 35 volunteer mentors and matched 68 children and youth in our 3 programs. So thank you very much for choosing us, and we look forward to it.
I'll just talk. Excuse the look. I look a little bit like half the Blues Brothers, but I just had surgery last week, and I also picked up a cold. However, great night to be a member of Minto. Great stuff, Mayor. Excellent. I'm here to excuse the voice. I'm here to thank the mayor and council for giving the Palmerston Railway Museum Heritage Museum a boost in our efforts to make the 150th anniversary of Palmerston excel. The monies that we will, our share of the monies will go toward the renovation of one of our rolling stock, the caboose. The caboose is the major part of a train. How long do I have? No. Yeah, if you did you all bring pillows? We're all set to go for a while. But the aspirations of the museum are to make ourselves a center, help make ourselves a center for the 150th coming up in 2 years. And we hope this money, with the renovations, will help go a long ways toward that. And you're all invited. Come over to Palmerston on the 150th and enjoy yourselves. And just aside, like 50 years ago, I wrote a book about this, and it only seems like yesterday. Time flies. Time flies. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob. So the mayor's golf, charity golf has been going on for 14 years. And we've had 28 different groups over the years. And the mayor's charity golf has raised $140,000. Basically, it's all about volunteers and the groups that have came forward and needed a little bit of money to work with their group and get their group going. And it's been a great event. So welcome to the 3 groups that are involved this year. And we're looking forward to another successful mayor's tournament. So thank you. So if you've like I said before, anybody that's here, that their delegation's over and they want to leave, that's fine, or you can stay as long as you want. The next delegation is Catherine Noble. She's part of the Wellington Federation of Agriculture and Wellington County Agri-Food System Study. So Catherine Noble, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
And you've brought a guest.
You guys can pick one as well. Good evening, Mayor Turton and Council. Thank you for allowing me to present to you tonight. My name is Catherine Noble, and I'm the administrator for the Wellington Federation of Agriculture. And I'm also accompanied by our president, Barclay Knapp. Last year, we completed this agri-food system study with the help of funding from the Grand River Ag Society, Wilton Consulting Group, along with some of our own funds. We are also able to present to you these printed copies to council and others. Thanks to funding from the Ontario Federation of Agriculture's Revive Fund. One of our board members put together this short video to help us use a uniform message when presenting to all of the lower tier municipalities as we split up the workload for presenting between our directors. So if you could play the video.
Dale, would you mind just,
Decisions that affect Wellington.
thank you. That's great.
Wellington County's lands and citizens for generations to come can be challenging. To help, we commissioned a research project that unveiled the incredible and unique value we have in Wellington County's land, bringing clarity to you and to your decision-making process. Venture into Wellington County, Ontario, a vital cog in the wheel of nourishment, feeding not just the local community, but reaching out to Ontarians, Canadians, and beyond. This region is far more than a simple farming area. It's an economic powerhouse, generating an impressive $2.8 billion to Canada's GDP. Now more than ever, we must understand and communicate the value the agriculture and agri-food system has for the economy, environment, and society. Wellington County is a leader in field crop production, livestock production and processing, value-added activities, and agriculture inputs and services. Agri-food value chain input retail businesses are distributed across the county, making it convenient for Wellington County farmers to access the inputs needed to operate successfully. Wellington County farmers are pioneers, not just in terms of yield, but also in sustainable farming practices and employment, providing over 35,000 jobs, over 6,000 full-time equivalent positions. Embracing sustainable farming with open arms, Wellington County's farmers are constantly innovating with the goal of improving the soil, water, and increasing biodiversity. This vibrant region, which covers a mere 0.2% of Ontario's land base, and 3% of Ontario's total prime agricultural land, represents 5% of Ontario's agri-food industry's total contribution of $56 billion to Canada's GDP. This statistic is worth repeating. Wellington County geographically covers a mere 3% of Ontario's prime agricultural land, yet contributes 5% of the Ontario agri-food industry's contribution to Canada's GDP. This is a testament to the power of innovation, sustainable practices, and food production in Wellington County. Wellington County's agri-food industry contributes 35,943 jobs to the Canadian economy, nearly 2/3 of which are in the food manufacturing and retail portion of the value chain. This equates to $496 million in labor income within farm and upstream jobs. Wellington County's primary agriculture, meaning jobs directly on farms, supports a total of 12,260 jobs, 6,556 full-time equivalent employees. In 2021, Wellington County farms accounted for 5.8% of all of Ontario's farm cash receipts. For every dollar spent on local Wellington County agricultural products, $2.36 of activity is generated within Canada. Wellington County's agricultural sector generates a total of $79 million tax revenue for the provincial and federal government. Soil is a non-renewable resource. 81% of Wellington County's soils are Class 1 to 3. Wellington County is one of few areas in Canada with an abundant reserve of the highest quality soils for growing food. Now more than ever, we must understand and communicate the value the agriculture and agri-food system has for Wellington County's economy, environment, and society. As such, the Wellington Federation of Agriculture, WFA, commissioned this research project to examine one of these areas: the economic impact of the agriculture and agri-food system in the county and opportunities for further growth and development. Whether you are part of our local government or an interested citizen of our county, please talk about Wellington's agriculture. To find out more, scan the QR code to download the full Wellington County Agri-Food System Study, Farms, Food, Our Future.
From that video, there's a few key points that we also would like to highlight for you. If you could please pull up the PDF. Thank you. It's very well known that Wellington County is a powerhouse for agriculture, but I find that oftentimes people get stuck in thinking that agriculture is solely related to primary production. This one-page summary that we've created helps paint the picture of how diverse the industry is in Wellington County, especially being in the northern part of the county. I think sometimes we forget that we have such important agri-food businesses and resources such as the University of Guelph research farms, large feed mills, and farm implement dealerships at easy access to us. but still have a variety of primary production farms and even processing facilities and everything in between. It is all connected like a large web. It is very remarkable that Wellington County makes up only makes up 0.2% of the province's land mass, and yet look how resourceful we can be on that 0.2%. We also are very fortunate to have some of the most productive land in the province, with the majority of our soils being class 1 to 3. There's a lot of information in this study, and every time that I read it, I find I pick up something different. So the goal with completing this study was just to give, and presenting to municipalities, I guess, was to give our municipalities this booklet as a tool to use when discussing land use, future planning, and even highlight the economic impact that agriculture has in Wellington County. And this is why, we need to protect the fertile farmland that we have. This summary page can also be found on page 3, or it's just after page 3 in your booklet. And I encourage you to all read it and share it with people you know, even if it's just over the dinner table. And our full study can also be found on our website. Thank you. And if anyone has any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. That's all.
Thank you, Catherine. Barclay, have you got something to add, or you support?
I'm primarily here to support her and
Good.
help her answer any questions.
Welcome. We appreciate your input. I know that we get letters from you from time to time, and it's all good. So questions for Catherine? Go ahead.
Can you stop the rain?
I wish.
A little hard for them to get out and do their work, but yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you.
Councillor Dirksen.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks for the report, and thank you for Wellington Federation of Agriculture for putting this together. This is a significant undertaking, and it has a lot of really great information in it. I think I read somewhere, of course I can't find it now, but I think I read somewhere that we actually in Wellington County are increasing our farm acres. Is that our farmland acres? Is that right?
Yeah, I think some of that came out of the previous census where a lot of this information came from. Some of that, I believe, was because there is some reclaiming of land to become new farmland. And I think there is also some misattribution of some of the numbers of land. The way the census, I believe, is that some of the larger farms that rent outside the county, some of that land outside the county was accounted for inside the county, just because the business's address was inside the county. So those two situations, I believe, that's what we can attribute to.
Okay, thank you. Even with that, I mean, even if Wellington County land is increasing, we still need to be very careful how we use it. That message is still pretty clear.
We have a very good climate here between the lakes. We have very consistent weather, and you look at what the other areas in the world, we don't have regular earthquakes, and we don't have much civil unrest or warfare. So we have a very safe and consistent supply of food that we can consistently do with the soil that we have.
Yes, agreed. It's a blessed place to be living and farming, that's for sure.
Any other questions? If the Wellington Federation of Agriculture, you guys obviously have a website for anybody that's interested in all this material, and there is a lot of information here. And I know, we know that Wellington County is, we rely on the county and our agriculture businesses for our economy. I mean, the economics that it produces around Wellington County and other counties here, it's impressive. So for this report, Barclay, Catherine, can people go on your website and see it?
Yep. Yeah, so it's under one of the tabs. I should have looked it up, but yeah, it's our website is wfofa.on.ca.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you guys for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So our fourth delegation this evening is Jim Dopfer and Deborah Dennison. So This is a further delegation from our delegation from 2 weeks ago on the petition. So Jim's going to explain to us why he's here. So go ahead, Jim.
Good evening, Mayor Tootin and Council. For the record, my name is Jim Doppel, and although we are many, I am one of the organizers of this petition. When our delegation was invited to leave the meeting 2 weeks ago, I went home and watched the video on YouTube. I personally felt attacked by the people who used words like hateful and deceitful, which I consider slanderous. But that's okay. People have been using those words and terms or worse about my ancestries for hundreds of years. And we are still here. How can there be respect for individuals when hate speech is allowed to thrive? In the very same council meeting where we made a legitimate request. I would have expected Mayor Tootin or council to stop such hate speech in record time, particularly since you promised to take this matter very seriously. Various governments, bodies have tried to assimilate my ancestors through force, intimidation, oppression, and I hope that this isn't more of the same. I didn't really want to come back tonight, but obviously my speech 2 weeks ago wasn't clear enough, and it was misrepresented by some people. So I'm here a second time to explain it. Clarification point number 1. Our request to council is for a bylaw for neutrality in public spaces. Our request has nothing to do with the draft copy of the flag banner policy or the proposed flag banner policy that is on your agenda tonight. Clarification point number 2, this petition has nothing to do with hate. Our petition was developed because of controversial issues within the community that was leading to division. I challenge anybody on council to find a hateful word in my speech. Clarification point number 3, the Supreme Court of Canada in 2015 ruled against prayer in public council meetings. Why do you think they did that? We are requesting a similar bylaw to maintain neutral public spaces that is free from discrimination and allows equal freedoms to believe or not to believe. And clarification point number 4, government at any level should not be involved in personal choice matters of its electors. You are forcing your beliefs and values of a few onto everyone. Council, don't you believe that 900 people deserve an informed response from elected representatives? Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Deborah Dennison. Good evening, Mayor Turton, members of council, Minto staff, and attendees. My husband and I and our families have lived in Minto for over 150 years, and my great-grandparents are buried in the Pioneer Cemetery on the corner of our farm. It has been a pleasure to live in Minto, and we enjoy raising our children here. However, it was said at the last meeting that there were questions to the validity and possible misunderstanding of the request for this bylaw for all public property in Minto to be neutral space. So people have asked for us to clarify what this petition is. So I'm going to just quickly read it. It says, the undersigned persons, being electors of the town of Minto in the province of Ontario, hereby petition council to make a bylaw, not a policy, a bylaw, ensuring crosswalks and flags and banners on public property remain neutral, adhering to the following. Crosswalks will only be painted in the standard white striped pattern in the continental or ladder between parallel lines. Flags, only the national flag of Canada, provincial flag of Ontario, or Town of Minto flags are raised on flagpoles on public property and facilities. There will be no decorations on town crosswalks or displaying flags or banners supporting political, social, or religious movements or commercial entities, save and except the Royal Canadian Legion banners, which are considered grandfathered in. So as everyone can see, there's nothing misleading or deceitful, as was said in many newspapers, in this petition. It is simply requesting the space that represents every Minto Canadian resident equally, with neutral space for all. So there are many people who have actually signed this petition since, and more people asking to sign it. That's how important this is. So I hope it's taken very seriously. And we also assure you that all 900 signatures are valid Minto residents above the age of 18, which also seemed to be questioned at the last meeting. And therefore, all names stand, with the exception of the 6 people that withdrew their signature for neutral spaces in Minto. Therefore, we're asking what the timeline is to get this issue corrected. How quickly will the bylaw be enacted? Who will be involved? Who will make the decisions? And will the items that are of conflict now be removed while this is being discussed and worked out? So thank you for your time.
Okay, thanks, Deborah. Jimmy. I told you at the last meeting 2 weeks ago, Jimmy, that we're taking this very seriously, and we would get back to you. And we have. We've had correspondence back and forth to you in particular. So are you okay with a question or two? Jimmy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Councillor Dirksen?
Thank you, Mayor Turton. Through you to the delegation. Thanks for coming in this evening. I'm just wondering, what all would you deem as public spaces? The petition mentions crosswalks, so I assume you mean all roadways. It also mentions flagpoles in public spaces. So again, assuming the Town of Minto office, the fire stations and arenas, and if any of those assumptions are wrong, please tell me. Is there anywhere else that you would consider public spaces in Minto?
All spaces that the taxpayers pay for.
So parks such as the Lions Park in Palmerston and the Rotary Park in Clifford, for instance, you would consider those public spaces as well?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Can I ask more questions? May I ask more questions?
Yes, so, yeah. But if you've got more than one, go ahead and ask, or if you got 2 or 3, whatever, I'll let you have the floor for a few minutes, Councillor Dirksen.
Okay. When you see a pride flag or a banner or other decor in public space in Minto, does it make you feel unsafe or uncomfortable? I don't want to put words in your mouth. So how does it make you feel what thoughts come to your mind when you see that kind of decor?
I have no thoughts about it, actually. It doesn't bother me that that's up. The process is what bothers me. The process of how it went up, and you did not consult the people of Minto, and that you went and put these up, and you're telling us that that flag or that banner includes us. It does not include all of us. That's a personal choice again, and beliefs and values. You have different beliefs and values than me, maybe, as everybody else, and we need to respect each other's beliefs and values. And it's going back to the Supreme Court ruling in 2015. Why does council not open the council meeting with prayer? Can you answer that question?
Oh, I could, but I'm not going to. Because I have different feelings about that than you do, probably. Deborah, did you want to answer the question at all, or anything?
I don't think this is about any one specific group. It's about keeping everything neutral and fair for everybody.
Okay, so the next question is for you, actually. I see your name signed as witness to about 14 names on the petition. And, sorry, Tom, Jim, I mean, sorry. I wasn't sure where all your signatures were because they weren't as clear. But for Deborah, I know that she signed as a witness to about 14 names. How many people did you speak to get those 14 signatures? Did you go up and down the road? Did you ask everybody, or did you kind of target? Yes. Or did you kind of target, I think these 14 people would maybe sign it?
No, they were just people I was speaking with at the time, and they said that they would like to sign. But honestly, there are more people who feel very strongly about this and want to sign. So I
Okay.
hope you guys can deal with this quickly.
And Jim, same question to you then. Did half the people that you asked sign it, or everybody? Did you target people that you thought, oh yeah, I think these people?
Not everybody signed it. Some people, again, have different beliefs and values and thought that they didn't believe in it, and they have the right to do so.
Sure.
And,
Absolutely.
and I would say likely 60% maybe signed it. I didn't have a whole lot of negative feedback.
Okay, and did you receive any hurtful or hateful remarks about any particular group of people?
No, the only hateful remarks I've heard was from the last meeting when two ladies spoke at the last meeting, and then it was in the paper. Hateful and deceitful. But besides that, no, nobody has attacked me.
I guess I wasn't thinking necessarily of attacking you. I was thinking when you asked people if they would like to sign the petition, if there was any hate to any particular group of people, not necessarily to yourself.
We would not allow people to sign it if it was hateful, because it's not about hate. So when Stefan could speak to that, but even myself, there was people that wanted to sign it and we wouldn't let them sign it because it's not about hate. It's about keeping all places neutral on issues so that everybody belongs here.
Okay, and my last question is kind of the same, so I won't ask it. I guess I just wanted to make the statement that 900 of approximately 6,400 voters on the electors list in 2022 is about 14%. These are all abouts because it's hard to keep track of how many people signed the petition, and it's hard to keep track of how many electors are in Minto, but it's about 14% just for interest's sake.
So in 2018, I believe it was in the Wellington County Advertiser, and Clerk Annaline had it, and I believe there was 3,441 people that cast a ballot back in 2018. You can check that, but I believe that's what it was. So it's actually about 26%.
And just to add to that, the Mennonites community, which is very large here, spoke with me as well. And they agree that they want these neutral spaces, but they're not allowed to sign petitions. So you have to put that number in there as well, right? And then also put into place the number of people that were afraid for their jobs that wanted to sign. And so you said I was on how many, 14?
Yes, I believe it was.
So I had two, definitely, that wanted to sign, and they were concerned mostly about a job or their workplace. And I had nobody who did not want to sign it.
Thank you. That's all the questions I have for now, Mayor Turton.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? Councilor Elliott, go ahead.
I guess it'd be a question to either one of you. I know I belong to the Lions Club in Palmerston, and I know that we have one person at least, and maybe a group of people that are looking to put up some banners on behalf of past Lions that were very influential in the town of Minto and Palmerston especially, and fathers and such like. So they would like to put banners up recognizing them and have different family members have offered that they'd like to purchase it and be part of it. When you do neutral, all of a sudden that they haven't got the opportunity to do that. And I'm very concerned about that kind of thing. And then another thing is, are we looking at the Christmas decorations we put up on the poles every year? It's Christian, based on Christian views. So if we go neutral again, would we lose that? Would we not allowed to be able to put that kind of thing in? I wonder about completely taking away from everyone the opportunity to present their group or their opportunity to present what they believe in many different ways. Like we believe in, the Lions believe in, we serve people, we want to be part of that. Now we won't have that opportunity to bring that forward. I'm concerned that we can't take everything away. I would suggest too, if any group came to our council with a legitimate reason that they want to put up a banner or a flag and no one has come forward, we don't just target somebody and say, you put up a flag. They come to us and ask us. And I'm sure if the Lions Club or somebody like that would come forward and ask us, I don't think there'd be a problem. So with neutrality, that's not going to happen. Okay, thanks.
Other questions?
Somebody wants to answer.
Sorry. Hold on. So we have a delegation, ma'am. And our delegation is Jimmy and Deborah. Okay? Thank you.
There's a question period.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Anderson.
Good evening, folks, and thank you for coming. I apologize, I wasn't here at the original meeting, so I didn't get to hear your delegation. I did listen to it on video. I'm curious as to the comments, the wanting neutral space, and you feel that you weren't consulted as a community. But we don't generally consult on every decision we make because the timelines would be impossible. That's why we're elected to be your representatives. So in relation to a space that you want to be neutral, I share some of these concerns. We celebrate all of us in various ways and shapes around this community. Canada is a true melting pot of the world. The only natives here, Jim, are your ancestors, and we didn't treat them very well. And we're hoping to make reparation, although I don't know exactly how you pay a parent back for ripping their children away from them. However, that's a different discussion. But we are all ancestors or descendants from people from other countries, from other nations. We each bring our own cultural belief. And to me, it's a travesty that writers like Robert Munsch has to remove books from a list because they talk about a Chinese grocer. Okay? If they're Chinese, they're proud of being Chinese. I'm very proud of my European ancestry and my Scottish ancestry. I'm sort of a Heinz 57. There's a bit of French, a bit of Scottish, but we're all proud of that. We bring our recipes, we bring our cultural beliefs, we bring our religion. And for heaven's sakes, people, surely we're at a point in this world where we all recognize we believe or are forced to believe or compelled to believe that there's some higher power than us because we don't have all the answers. But surely we can all worship in our own separate ways and be accepting of that. My concern about neutrality is you're taking away everything. It's white. It's totally white. It's colorless. We recognize Nurses Week. We recognize firefighters. We recognize our volunteers. The hospitals are tax-supported spaces. They regularly have award ceremonies for commemorating people who put their lives on the line to provide services. Our EMS providers, our fire department. We recognize all of that. Are you wanting us to become a totally colorless, valueless society that says everything's white and nothing gets recognized? Is that what you're looking for? Because I'm conflicted by that, and I'm totally not in favor of it. I'm sorry, but we deserve to recognize the specialties we all have, the things we all bring to our community, the value we all bring to our community. We are a community together, and we all have different stories and different backgrounds, and surely we have some acceptance.
And we all have different beliefs and values,
do.
Council, Deputy Mayor Anderson. And all I'm saying is that you shouldn't be, values and beliefs of other persons on public spaces should not be allowed. Because it's controversial. Why, it's controversial. So it's like, why doesn't council open the meeting with prayer?
I don't know. Why don't we?
Well, 2015, the Supreme Court said that the state needed to be neutral, as not to discriminate against anybody.
And I disagree with that. If you choose to
Well,
say
that's
the
fine.
lowest-
900 people have asked for this.
Okay. I don't understand it. Myself, I'm trying to gain some understanding or some insight into what is the purpose.
Well, the there'll be question period, and maybe someone in question period can answer that better than I can.
Okay.
Other questions? Well, I know that I have been as busy as most of you guys, if you've been out in the community for the last 2 weeks, talking about this particular item. I can tell you that we are taking it very serious. I've lost sleep on it, waking up and halfway through the night thinking about you standing there, Jim, talking about, you know, some of the things that we talked about. And it's a big issue, and we're going to discuss it. So, and I know that we've already included yourself, so.
Just, can you kind of give us a bit of, time frame and how that will happen, just so as everybody's got, a little bit of rest with this?
So Deb, there was a couple of questions that you had, and you were throwing them out quickly, and I didn't get them wrote down, but I know that that was one of them.
Yeah.
To come to a conclusion on this, and whether it's a bylaw or a resolution or whatever, I believe that we're looking at the second meeting in June.
So you're saying you will deal with this again then? That's the way that's going to happen?
I believe so.
Okay.
So that's a yes. Can we achieve that? No, I'm not sure. I mean, how do you solve this problem? And I mean, when we have 2 councils in a row full of ratepayers wanting some answers, how can we not take that serious? So we're going to work towards, what's the date, Annalee?
Well, we do have a policy coming forward tonight for council's consideration. And once I get input, it will come forward at the second meeting in June, which I believe is the 18th, yes, sorry.
I mean, I'm under the impression that neutral public spaces, is that achievable? I question that. So whether it's halfway through June, I mean, that's, like I said, that's what we're working towards. So we'll see how it works. So any other questions for Jimmy or Deborah? Okay. So I'm going to close this off.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So next on the agenda is public question period. So I'm just going to read so as I said to some of Dan, Jim, last week, 2 weeks ago, sorry. Public question period was put in a number of years ago to allow people to come off the floor and ask a question. So I'm going to read this. And it doesn't happen very often. I think it's happened, well, for sure, 2 weeks ago. But before that, I can't remember. I've been around here for 20 some odd years. And I don't remember somebody coming off the floor and asking a question.
Councilor Anderson. Once in a while, sneaks in.
Yeah. So, public question period shall be an opportunity for persons in attendance at the meeting to ask a question of council. The head of council shall ensure members of the public address council with a question such that speeches or statements not in the form of a question shall be considered out of order and not allowed by the head of council. Persons in attendance shall be limited to no more than 2 questions, and repeat questions shall not be permitted. The head of council may answer the question asked. He may defer the answer to any member of council or to staff present at the meeting who may be in a position to answer, or may require an answer to be provided in writing at a subsequent meeting or at council. So we are at public question period. If we have questions, now's the time. So we're allowed, according to this, 2 questions per person. And state your name, please.
So my name is Bonnie Hollinger. a resident of Minto for approximately 40 years. And my question is, may I ask a question with regard to your definition, Ron, of neutrality? What do you feel neutrality?
From what I heard from your delegation, is neutrality is we'll only be putting up Canada flags, town of Minto banners and such like. We won't be allowing any outside group or any group within our town to put it up other than the town of Minto or Ontario provincial, that type of thing.
Okay, my second question is then, may I ask or tell you what I feel neutrality involves?
Sure.
Okay. Neutrality in a community such as Minto would involve having people who achieve something. For example, the Lions, you mentioned the Lions.
Sure.
They're achieving good quality and benefiting the whole community. So I think they are worthy of acknowledgement. When you talk about this acronym of people who choose to live an alternative lifestyle, whether we agree with it or not, is not worthy of recognition. They're just like other human beings who live their life of choice like I do.
Mm-hmm.
And so to single them out and say, we're inclusive, all are included, including Blacks, would not be a statement you would make. So to use the word inclusivity and say that all people are included, including our acronym for the alternative lifestyles.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just kind of off the cuff. I didn't plan to say anything tonight, but that would be my definition of neutrality. You're offering something to the community, you're worthy of recognition. We had our sports here, we have our Lions as an example. We have our agriculture, who supports our agriculture. I think there's a lot of things that we may consider neutral that aren't neutral.
And I appreciate that. And that's sort of my sentiments too about the way it should go. But choosing the word neutrality is maybe where we're in trouble here.
Let's hope that we don't get stuck on that.
Yeah, either it's all one way and somehow the presentation didn't include that to what I was. That's I inferred the fact that no one now was able to use once you put it forward. That's I don't know where the rest of the council thought that.
So I'm gonna cut this off. We're not into a debate.
Okay.
Okay, so Bonnie asked the question and then she kind of give us some dialogue on her thoughts. So let's get, sorry, Bonnie, for cutting you off, but let's get on to the next person.
Hello, members of council, Mayor Turton, Dan Sinclair, member of the town of Minto. I'm going to make it short and sweet again. And I also want to say that any papers, anybody reporting on this, I'd appreciate no assumptions. And I would also appreciate that you're honest in
What's your question?
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're going to ignore our request for a bylaw, rather than spending our tax dollars and drafting up a flag and banner policy that clearly favors a subcommittee of the town of Minto and a special interest group, which is also an obvious conflict of interest, have a community vote by the taxpayers, resulting in a non-biased outcome. 900 people have spoken and there's more. Do you think that these concerned taxpayers of Minto deserve to vote?
Dan, get on with your question, please.
So this is my question.
Okay.
Do you not think that these concerned taxpayers of Minto deserve to vote versus solely the members of council on this matter and any other controversial matter that affects the entire town in the future? I suggest an immediate vote. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Go ahead, next.
Mayor Dave Turton, Council, my name is Tom McDonald. I guess that my simple question is to council that, do you feel that you were, or we elected you to display sexual messages to the general public? I think that's what maybe this petition is about, that talking about the banners and the crosswalks, stuff like that. And I'm not sure that the petition has anything to do with public or service clubs and recognition, as somebody mentioned earlier about the somebody does a good deed and whatnot, for sure should be recognized. But I think that all of our sexual preferences should be stayed in the privacy of our own home, not displayed on our main street and on our, lampposts.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
Hello, everyone. My name is Meg Young, and I live in the township of Minto. I have a question to council, and I just want to know if you can tell me why or how the town can spend our tax dollars on a certain special interest group, and what is the budget for the DEI group, including the wages of municipal staff to organize. I really think our money, our taxes collected from all of us, should be spent towards municipal expenditures and maintenance of roads, buildings, parks, that kind of thing. For example, I just read that the town of Minto was going to be the host for the Pride in the Park. How much of our tax dollars are going to be spent on that, i.e. staff, setup, takedown, whatever? I just feel that our tax dollars collectively should benefit all of Minto collectively, not be spent on groups that a good majority of us are no part of. I mean, everyone's entitled to their own beliefs. I just wondered if I could get a figure tax-wise, dollar-wise, I mean.
So that's your question then,
Yeah.
what the town spends on the Pride in the Park?
Pride in the Park and just day-to-day, like you have to have staff to put the flags up and down and.
Yeah, so do we have a number on that, or should we wait and get back to Meg?
Through you, Mayor Turton, to the delegation. In speaking with our Public Works Department, to put up the 12 flags in the 3 downtowns, there's a cost of approximately $700. That's a cost that would be incurred regardless of the flag that's put up, but to put up 12 flags in 3 downtowns is approximately $700, including staff and truck time.
And what about some of the mental staff that are heading up some of these committees? I mean, their time, is that extra and over above their regular pays, or?
Go ahead, sir.
Through you, Mayor Turton, to the delegation, the majority of staff time spent on committees is above and beyond the duties that the staff would normally undertake.
And do we have a figure for the Pride in the Park, being as you're hosting it?
Can we do you know exactly what, no?
It hasn't happened yet, I realize that.
Yeah, so it's happened, I think this could be 5th or 6th. It's happened a few times. Don't know exactly what number it is, but it's been in Palmerston.
Well, it's just something that.
Yeah,
my
so we'll get
point
back
is
to you on
we
that,
should
Meg.
Consider it.
Yep, we'll get back to you on that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I'm gonna do something I shouldn't do, but I'm gonna go before. My wife, she has a question similar to mine. But first of all,
So would you-
holy smoke,
would you,
hallelujah.
excuse
This is
me.
democracy at
Excuse me,
work.
sir, can you state your name, please?
Yes, I will. I'm Stefan von Mühlenen. I'm a resident from Thing, but wow, does that make my day. This is how democracy should be. Questions. I was so devastated the last thing. No questions were asked from council when we represented that. So my question today is, but I got it almost answered, would be very simple. Dear council, dear people, you are representing all of us here in Minto. That's what you were elected for. Now, now, even we gathered 900 signatures, you represent them as well. And when I went out and asked people for the signature and talked to them about this, they were told me that none of you ever talked to them or asked for opinion. There was no, to all the people I talked to, there was no mention because I asked. And that is what bothers me a lot, especially last week when we came here. Not a single question was asked, nothing. And that is not democracy for me. So that's why I would like to ask you, Mayor Turton, explain please to me how your democracy in this town, because that's not like it. How does this work?
Yeah, so we are, and thanks for the question. We're an elected bunch of officials here. I mean, we're working on your behalf. We're very transparent. We have all of our agendas, our minutes. Anything that we do around here is on our website. And I'm sure that you've been in the council chambers before or in this building to ask questions, if you have questions.
Yes, but last week, or 2 weeks ago,
Uh-huh.
nobody asked a question. Nobody of the councillors asked a question. That was very, very devastating for me.
Okay.
And I'm gonna mention names. It was not till about a week ago, your councillor, Deputy Mayor Gene Anderson, called me.
Mhm.
Wow, that's democracy. Thank you.
Okay,
That's
thank
for
you.
me, that's democracy.
Mr. Mayor?
You have a question for?
Just one comment I wanted to say. Daily, my phone rings. Daily, I meet people in the street. Daily. Daily, I'm talking to people about different items within council, including this. So it isn't. That's democracy. They bring it to me. I talk to them about it. And then if I think it, I bring it back to council. So what else can you ask?
I respect that.
Good evening, Council and everybody. My name is Franny von Mullinen, and I would like to ask you all something. Do we not learn from history? I'm not an indigenous descent, but I can not believe and understand how Native people got and still get treated. To me, it is unbelievable. It's crazy. Does the government not respect and pushes white people's belief on them? But is the government not people? Can we not learn respect and tolerate a different lifestyle and belief? Can we not live together side by side? Can we not talk, sit together and find a way in fairness and peace instead of protest and rebel and demonstration? That, in my eyes, comes to hate, fight, and war. So that is why I ask the council to find a way to talk to people, talk to us, respect the 900 people, and be to the big group that is afraid to say what they believe and what they stand up or not can stand up. Give us an answer. So it is that we come here and instead of fight and try to understand why the town and school should be open and neutral and fair, open for everybody, for all beliefs. And please find a way to inform and talk to people of Minto. We should have a right and a chance to get an answer. It's democracy. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next?
Hello, my name is Irene Dooley. And thank you, Mayor Turton and Council, for listening to this question. I am a retired correctional officer, and I have retired to Palmerston about 8 years ago, and happy to have taken part of this petition around to my neighbors and friends, and really met a lot of people that I never, ever would have met other than taking that petition. And I tell you that Palmerston and Minto area is the best kept secret. And we've heard this even from the OPP officer on May 7th, that it's the safest community. We saw, the tributes today for our young athletes and whatever. So I'm proud to be a part of Palmerston area. And my question actually relates, I have two questions. It relates to the actual petition. There was an email question sent to Mayor Turton and the council on May the 5th. And my question is it considered a fair practice for a town employee to inject their own opinion to others of this same petition, even before it had been presented to council or had even been discussed with the organizers? And the second part of the question is, why is a town employee trying to coerce or even influence this petition by injecting her own opinions even before it was even presented to council? Thank you very much for respectfully looking at these questions and answering this to myself and our delegation.
Okay, thank you. The question. So, Irene, I've looked at your email numerous times. I get talk about democracy. I try and answer all my emails. I get, the last couple of weeks, I have got more than I have in the past, but I'll answer your email tonight. Okay, thank you. Who's next?
Mayor Turton and council members, my name is Irma DeVries, and I'm from Harrison, just north of Harrison. How many of you remember a visit that I gave you last summer? I went to your house, Ron, Ed, to yours, Dave. I went to your house, Jean, and to Paul and to Judy's house. And I presented you with some papers. One is a book called Implosion by Ann Gillies, a local writer. She lives up north of Mount Forest. She talks about harm and health and trauma. In it was also an article called Trans on Trial. And it describes how in the US especially, the health of the people participating in this behavior is...
Irma, please get on with the question.
Okay, my question is, this said is a notice of liability that I gave you, that I signed, and I asked for you guys to discuss it. And I'm wondering, have you discussed it? And are you concerned about the health of the people that participate in this? Are you leading people to fall into a pit. I know that the road supervisor gets right on it when something's wrong on the roads, and he doesn't want the liability for somebody falling into a pothole. What about you? Are you concerned about the health of the young people in this community that may think it's fun now, but may be led into a lifestyle that may be very harmful? And if you read a book called The Health Hazards of Homosexuality, you will really know what's going on. I'd like you to consider the health of our people.
Okay, thanks, Irma. Other questions? Go ahead, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor Turton and council members and attendees. A question that comes to mind for me
Your name, please, ma'am?
I'm sorry, Giovanna Belair. I'm a longtime resident of Palmerston and a retired teacher. A question that comes to mind for me is, first of all, when I think some of the groups that Councillor Elliott spoke about, for example, the Lions Group, when they want to put up a banner or any other group would like to put up a banner, I'm assuming they come to council with that request. So I'm wondering, with the group that we're speaking about, was there a specific group or a specific individual, or how was that request put forth for this?
So I can answer that. So unless you want to, of course. So if I understand the question, we have a cultural roundtable in our town, and the banners went up after a discussion with that group at the cultural roundtable. There was a resolution. The minutes come back to the council. We talk about all the minutes at our from committees of council, and the motion was made and passed after discussion.
Okay. Can I ask a second question then?
Yes.
Regarding that, was there considered to be a problem of lack of inclusivity?
Was there considered?
Inclusiveness. Was there a problem with the lack of inclusiveness that led to that request? Were there people that felt that our community was not being inclusive enough? Is that what led to this? Because I was actually very surprised. I thought, where is the problem? I don't see a problem. Everybody seems to be, this is a very friendly community. I never hear any hate speech. I never hear anything negative said about various groups. So was there a problem? Is that what led to this? Because maybe.
So are you clearly asking about the banners? Is that what you're asking? What are you asking?
Yes, I'm asking, when this was brought to the cultural roundtable, is it because the community felt that the community as a whole was not being inclusive enough? That's what I'm asking, because that it was a surprise to me. I don't know. I felt like this is an inclusive community. I don't know. So, and the issue is then all of a sudden people are asking themselves, are we not being inclusive enough? What are we not doing? What are we not doing right? Why do certain people feel that we're not being inclusive? I thought we were. I thought this was an inclusive. So that's the question that comes to mind for me, because now what this effort that is supposed to increase inclusivity seems to be causing the opposite. And that's not what we're about. That's not what we're about. We're not about division in this community. I think, we're very lucky. We're very fortunate. So I just fear that we're creating something that was never there.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have other questions?
Tony Andre, I've lived here around 50 years. I just like to know why. I just read about this in the paper. Shouldn't everybody be allowed to know about what you're making decisions about hanging flags and that? Thank you.
You want to answer that? Okay. Do you want to answer that, Deputy Mayor?
Not that one, the question before.
Okay, so I guess from what I understand is your voice certainly being heard tonight. So again, all I can say is our minutes or anything that we do around here is very transparent. Communication is important. So go ahead, Deputy Mayor Anderson.
I would like to respond to the two previous questions. Oh, sorry. I'd like to,
So.
beg your pardon. I'll try and speak
So
loud enough.
1 second. So I'd like to answer Mr. Omenite. Sorry, Tony. Sorry,
Andre.
Tony.
Andre.
Andre, are you going to answer?
I'm
Tony?
going to answer
Okay,
that one
go
first.
ahead.
So if you need to know or want to know what's happening in council, the council meetings are televised. They're on the website. You can watch them on the TV or on the website. There's a good report every week in the paper. We can't preempt what's coming forward from delegations because we don't know until we have the delegation. So we can't tell you that the delegation is going to ask if they can put banners up or if they can have an event. You have to follow the track. And we're all open for calls. I get very few calls. Most people, though, use David to get to me. They go and talk to him and say, can you talk to your wife about this? But yes, you have to come to the hospital to find me.
But I think it should have been.
So again, sorry,
This was in the paper.
can you go to the mic, please, Tony? This is your next question. You're going to allow a second question. We need to get you recorded. Thank you.
Okay. Then how come it was on the paper that this was going on, but it was nothing before?
Because the delegation came to council and brought it to council.
Well,
So it was
then-
put in the paper immediately after we get the delegation. Until they come, we
But
don't know
bef-
what they're going to bring.
But before you hang flags, you should send notices out for all members.
But if we were to do that, then we would have to send notices about everything that we're asked for. Is there funding for a signage grant? Is there funding for a building grant? Is there permission to have the street party? Is there? Okay, well then we could look at that and everybody can come to council and find out what's going on because we communicate as well as we can, but you want us to preempt agendas before they're put out and put them in the, they're available on the website. You can look up any agenda.
People have something to say.
So, excuse me, ma'am, we're kind of going above and beyond here.
Yep.
We have question and answer.
Right.
If you have a question, I've asked you very clearly to go to the microphone and state your name. So are you finished?
I'm finished with that question, but I
Okay,
would like to
so-
address the previous
Can I add
question.
something to
Sure.
Okay, if you got something to add, Councillor Dirksen, go ahead,
Yes.
please.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I would just, and I think everybody knows this, but if you don't, so Fridays, the agenda for the Tuesday meeting is put onto the Town of Minto website. And that's when we get it too. So that's when we find out what's on the agenda. So you can find out just as soon as we can. So, well, you know what? It's 2024 and we can't send out faxes to everybody. Like, I don't know how to do it because you can't get it in the paper fast enough either. We don't have a daily paper in Minto. So, but anyways, that is how you could find out what's on the agenda. And if you would like to read, sometimes 200 or 300 pages, hey, have at it. I think that would be great. I would love for people to know more about what's going on, but, we have it out there and we do our best.
Deputy Mayor Anderson, you're going to answer Joanna?
Correct.
Go
If I
ahead.
could, please.
Yep.
So as much as it pains me to say this, that is exactly why they asked for those banners. The banners they previously put up around street posts were torn down and damaged. The they've been threatened, the people of that community, of that group. And to say that your group is not targeting that group, and we get people talking about homosexuality, what people's preference to do, what their beliefs are theirs. Homosexuality has been around for as long as mankind has. Whether we agree with it or we don't agree with it, what business is it of ours what goes on in people's bedrooms? The business that goes on in some heterosexual bedrooms is pretty startling if you wanted to really start looking into it, okay? These people felt assaulted. Their decorations, their things to bring attention to their group, asking for inclusivity, including Indigenous people and including Black people and brown people. It includes everybody. Females, males, females have fought for centuries to have equal rights with men. We're still fighting. This is about inclusivity and acceptance. We accept all. But going to white neutral, where we say we're totally colorless, we don't accept anything. And you can't break it down and say, we're not accepting the pride banner, but the Legion can go up. And the ball teams can go up. No, 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 no. You're one or the other. You can't say, well, we recognize this group and we respect them. They can put up banners and they can have fundraisers, but this group that we don't like, they cannot. Shame on you.
Okay, thank
Can
you.
I ask a third question?
I'm going to allow you to ask a third question,
Okay.
but you're the only one, okay?
Is the problem with the word neutrality? Okay, so then does that need to be modified?
So you can rest assured
I'm sorry.
that we are discussing this, looking into it, talking about it, because, again, I say we've had 2 consecutive council chambers full of people, and we need to get back to you guys on this. So if neutrality is the wrong word, then so be it. We'll come up with something.
Okay, I just think nobody wants to feel like we're being not inclusive. And I wasn't aware of any groups that were targeting other groups. I don't know who they are, who they would be, what age group that would be. I have no idea. But from my point of view, and I think maybe from others too, they were totally unaware of that. So, and this is the last thing we want, is people being pitted against other people. That's very counter to what this whole thing is supposed to be about. So that's my feeling.
All right, thank you.
Me again, sorry.
Yeah, so Deb, I don't think you've had a question, right?
No, I don't think so. I'd just like to say, honestly, you guys are all great, and I trusted you all, right? And then this has happened. So I watched a meeting. I watched last week's meeting several times. And then I watched the meeting before. And just one thing I want to say is sometimes there are a lot to watch online. There are a lot of comments, like say from these guys or whoever. You guys are mic'd pretty good, but there are people who aren't mic'd very good. So that makes me think, I need to go to more council meetings because I'm not really hearing everything, right? And this is our community, and you guys are doing the best you can, right? So understandable. The other question that I have is, I saw that after the question period tonight, that there's a proposal to raise a flag on May 31st. That's actually, being talked about here. So is that flag still going to be raised? Because I think it's an issue.
I would say yes, it is. We went through the proper procedure and it's been accepted. It's not the first year. Okay, so we have put up a flag pole just outside. And Annaline, you want to speak on this?
I can, through you, Mayor Turton. We have a policy currently in place for our flags for our community poll. They are following it. They sent in a request. The request comes to me. It goes to council for information only. It is not for them to make that decision. The decision was made within the policy that we would fly these alternative flags, and they've requested it. And so again, it's just on there for information. It's not on there for discussion.
So if we see that, plus I don't think we did see that posted anywhere. So if we see that, how do we say that we're not in favor of that? And with what's happened here and been going on the last 2 weeks, I really strongly suggest that that not go up. Put up a Canada flag that's inclusive to everyone.
Other questions? Councillor Anderson.
Good evening, Mayor Turton and Council. David Anderson. I'm a resident of this community for many, many years. I've been involved in local politics. I'm now a regional councillor of the County of Wellington, so I don't have any voting ability here. But I've gone to many meetings at Minto Council here. And you know what? It's just many meetings I attend, nobody attends these council meetings. I sit in this room, the staff, the councillors are there. This question period, I was told, Councillor Elliott said I was the only one that spoke at these meetings, so here I'm speaking at this meeting. So when I hear that, you know, you don't get enough notice or you don't want to participate or get involved, they're here and the minutes are in advance. And if you can't get a hold of them by a Friday, talk to somebody that has a computer and say, I want to know what's on the council on Minto. And if there's something there you want to be here with, be here. Then you can ask these questions. So many times Mayor Turton said, very rarely anybody's ever asked a question here. Never. This is one of the first times because it's an issue here and it's a really tensions issue here. But it's good to get everybody's words and voices out. But if you really want to get involved in this council, be here at meetings and then you have an opportunity to ask these questions. Great to have everybody here tonight, but this is just a one in hundreds that this has ever happened. So maybe that's my challenge to the citizens of Minto. Get more involved in the council.
Do you have a question, Dave? Or?
My question is, to the people in general, why aren't you more involved in local politics?
Okay, so if there's no more questions, we're going to, Dan, did you ask one or two? Yeah. You did, okay, so go ahead.
So my question is to Councillor Anderson. You want everybody to be included.
Are you talking to Deputy Mayor Anderson or Councillor Anderson?
The female version.
The female.
Sorry.
Really?
So,
Dan,
my question to you is, what is?
Please act appropriately. It's Deputy Mayor Anderson.
Deputy Mayor.
Okay, if you're, or Councillor Anderson.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Anderson. My question is why do you feel personally that all Canadians, immigrants, color, race, religion, beliefs, all cannot fly under the nation's flag, the Canada flag?
We can fly under the Canadian flag, and we do, but we don't need to lose our culture and our heritage to do so. So if we have individual beliefs, we live in a country that believes in free speech, and we are free to represent ourselves in whatever way we choose. Flag, banners, speech, writing, pictures, any way they like. You cannot turn it into neutrality of total white.
So why can't people do that on their own public property?
They can indeed.
Because I don't see many people doing that.
Okay, thanks, Dan. So we're going to move along if there's no further questions. Again, I appreciate you folks on behalf of council coming out. It is a democratic society and everybody should have an opportunity to speak. And that's the biggest reason why we put question period in here years and years ago. So we've exercised it tonight and that's a good thing. Because honestly, if we, the council of the town of Minto, don't hear from you, I mean, my wife says to me, I'll go uptown this morning and get the milk. You stay home because I've got things for you to do. I go uptown, I'm up there, I talk to numerous people. Doesn't matter where I go. Clifford, Drew, there's people that want to talk, and we're talking about a lot of good things. And I can tell you again, we're going to deal with this. We need to. So again, thank you for coming. And we're going to get on to the next part of this evening. Okay? So thank you. If you guys want to stay, that's fine. If you want to leave, that's fine too. So the next part of this is correspondence. I've got a recommendation moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Zimmerman, that the council receives the correspondence as information. I'll just take a moment for the folks that want to leave. Okay, thank you. So correspondence, we've got 5 items, correspondence this evening. Is there any here that anybody would like to pull out and discuss? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? That's carried. Thank you. We have committee reports. Sorry, we have no committee minutes for approval this evening, but we do have staff reports. First item is Belinda Wick's going to present the report. It's an ECDEV 2024-008 signage grant, P27, Building Bridges, Adult Day Program, 155 William Street, Palmerston. Thank you for shutting that off. So there's one response that I would like to make just in a question here a few minutes ago. Sorry, Belinda, or I can wait. And that's to do with these mics. Okay? It's important to us that people can go on to YouTube or onto our Minto website and listen to our council meetings. We've got nothing to hide here. We're challenged by our government all the time about transparency and answering questions of people in our community. It's important, and I do take a lot of questions, and I get emails about, oh, that damn mic in front of Terry Kuipers wasn't working tonight or last night, and we're interested in what he was saying. It's pretty hard to turn that back. So we've answered, we've tried, we're working on these mics. So that's one of the reasons why I asked, and I just wanted to respond to that one comment. I think it was you, Deb. No, I know, I understand. I've heard it all, so sorry, Belinda.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor Turton, members of council. We have 3 different grants up for approval tonight. As you know, the Economic Development Planning Committee doesn't meet again until June 6th, so these were all voted on electronically last week on May 16th. So the first one is a signage grant for Building Bridges Adult Day Program, and it's a relatively small grant. This is for the perforated window signage to promote what services they have available in their location. And like I said, it's a small grant, matching grant, and it is a total price of $433.14 plus HST, so they would qualify for a grant of $216.57.
So this is moved by Councillor Potnovich, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that the Council of the Town of Minto receives the report ECDEV 2024-008 regarding signage grant P27, Building Bridges, the Adult Day Program, and approves the signage grant P27 for $216.57. Questions? Yeah, so Belinda, for the people here, where's this money come from?
This is a part of our budget, and it has been since 2008 approximately. It started out as an OMAFRA Red Grant program and has continued on in our budget, various levels, and this year it's about a $50,000 grant program.
Thank you very much. All in favor of the question? The motion? That's carried, and I'm going to pass the chair to Deputy Mayor Anderson.
Thank you, Mayor Turton. And I'm going to pass it over to Belinda to present the report, please.
Yep. So this is a structural grant program for McDonald Chiropractic. Director Terry Kuipers and I have reviewed this application like we do for all structural grant programs. This includes the construction of a one-bedroom bachelor apartment in the basement of this building in downtown Hairston. As we know, affordable housing is an issue, and it's something that we aim to try and address through this program. Again, this is a relatively minor grant. It would qualify for $3,715.80 and also opens the door to the Wellington County Invest Well program. So that is that.
Okay, I'll read out the recommendation, which has been moved by Councillor Elliott and seconded by Councillor Zimmerman. Are there any questions before we move to that? No, seeing none. That the Council of the Town of Minto receives the report ECDEV 2024-009 regarding structural grant number H13, McDonald Chiropractic, and approves structural grant number H13 for $3,715.80. All those in favor raise their hand, and that's passed. And I'll turn the table back over to, or the chair back over to Mayor Turton.
So the reason why I got up and left, because I declared a conflict of interest, because it had to do with my family, this particular motion. So I need to move myself out or stand back and let somebody else run the meeting. I do not get a vote. So that's the reason. Just another situation of transparency, and I can't push that enough. So next item is ECDEV 2024-010 is a structural grant number MT02, and it's the Reroute Organic Farm at 5642 11th Line, Hairston. And I'm going to ask Belinda to present this.
So another relatively small structural grant that would take in $957 and as well open it up to the Invest Well program. Reroute Organic Farm, this is a pretty exciting one. They're proposing to put in a certified kitchen on the second floor of the farm shop that would allow them to create zero food waste. So if there's an overabundance of food, they're going to turn it into frozen meals. They're going to turn it into preserves. They're going to teach the community how to preserve food. They're going to open it up to chefs coming in and doing field dinners. Taste Real, they are a Taste Real member for the county as well. So it's furthering our local food, furthering the smart cities and the zero food waste stuff. So just a really good application. It is a bigger project, but unfortunately, only a small amount of the project is eligible for our funds. So like I said, $957, but it does open it to the Invest Well program to gain more funding.
Thank you, Belinda. So it's moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Potnovitz. The Council of the Town of Minto receives report ECDEV 2024-010 regarding structural grant number MT02- Reroute Organic Farm and approves the structural grant of number MT02 for $957. Questions? I agree, Belinda. This is really exciting. I mean, to have a kitchen in Minto other than our own facilities for people to work, it's very exciting. So all in favor of the motion? Carried. Thank you. Next one is number 4 is our Plan 2024-021, the official plan amendment 123, designation of future development lands. I'm going to ask our CBO, Terry Kuipers, to present.
Thank you, Mayor Turton. Just so you're aware, the complaints you received were not about me. Everyone,
Sorry for picking on you.
Everyone shuts their speakers off when I have to speak, so they never know whether my mic works or not. So my report tonight is on official plan amendment 123. This official plan amendment is intended to redesignate lands both within Clifford, Hairston, as well as Palmerston from future development to specific intended designations. So that would be industrial, future develop, or sorry, industrial, highway, commercial, or residential. OPA 123 was put on hold during OPA 119. That is OPA 120, or sorry, OPA 119 was the official plan amendment where the province added additional lands into the Clifford urban boundary that wasn't identified locally as needed for growth. So OPA 123 was put on hold while that was put in, taken out, and then subsequently put back in. So since then, OPA 119 has been approved and the lands are within the Clifford urban boundary. So OPA 123 can move forward once again. Council did submit comments on the previous version of 123, which designated all the different parcels for different purposes. Since then, development aspects have changed within Palmerston on 3 specific parcels. So that would be 65 Lawrence Street North, 221 Mary Street, as well as 300 Toronto Street. So staff met and discussed what direction that we want those parcels to go in the future. And unfortunately, with different aspects of their design and the intended design, staff is recommending to council and subsequently to the county to leave those parcels or significant portions of those parcels as future development, just to allow for the direction of growth to head either to an industrial growth use or to residential. We didn't want to handcuff the owners and future developers into a specific direction when staff isn't sure which direction that they will go. Staff is looking for direction to council to submit comments on OPA 123 on behalf of Minto, and I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah, so the recommendation is moved by Councillor Zimmerman, seconded by Councillor Dirksen, that the Council of the Town of Minto receives report Plan 2024-021 regarding the official plan amendment 123 and direct staff to submit comments to the County of Wellington Planning Department. Questions? Councillor Elliott.
I think specifically you want to be talking about the Heinmiller Farm. So it's future development is what we're asking to move it to. So would it be difficult for them to move into their plan of subdivision that is sitting there?
So the portion of the Heinmiller Farm that's future development is basically from the house to the rear of the property.
Okay.
So we have phase 1 that's got draft approval up front with a consent application for potential phase 2. So it's the back half that we're not sure which direction it's going to go.
Okay, I get it now.
Okay.
Thanks.
Other questions? Go ahead, Councillor Podnovitz.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Turton. So that back portion is going to be future development. I'm a little concerned with, I guess, the future of that back portion. I've had experience in the past with when you put industrial against residential, it creates a lot of problems. So I'm just hoping, or we come back with a proposal at some point in time that would just be a further expansion of residential. I guess just a comment.
Just to clarify on that, we do have a light industrial zone that we use as a transition between residential and full industrial. MECP would require the developer of an industrial site adjacent to residential site to perform studies to find out buffering requirements in terms of noise, dust, that sort of thing. Yeah. So we don't know at this point which way it's going to go, but that would be on the developer to satisfy MOE.
Other questions? I'm going to call the question. All in favor of this motion? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. And then we're going to move along to the next one. It's the County Wellington Planning Report, 84 Lord Street North, Clifford. And I'll ask our CBO, Terry Kuipers, to present on this.
Excellent. Thank you, Mayor Turton. I'm presenting this report on behalf of Jessica. She's tied up in a council meeting next door in Wellington North. So council will recall that we had a public meeting regarding this rezoning application at the May 7th council meeting. The proposal was to rezone, the proposed rezoning was to switch the parcel from a C215, which does have a very limited permitted uses, which just limits it to active recreational uses. And the proposal was to flip it to a straight C2 or a highway commercial zone. When staff reviewed the application with county staff, with the Clifford Lagoon system directly in behind it, we were worried about land conflicts between a strictly highway commercial zone with our lagoon system in behind. So in discussion with the owner of the property, they were receptive to a modified highway commercial at the rear. So in the zoning map that's attached to the bylaw itself, sorry, Quinn, probably on the last page, that one right there. So the C215 that you see at the top of the page, we're recycling that -15 number. So we're getting rid of the current active recreational uses completely, and we're adding most of the highway commercial zones plus, or permitted uses, sorry, plus the light industrial, the M2 uses permitted within it. The sensitive land uses that we're pulling out include like apartments, restaurants, churches, funeral homes, anything that people outside, there may be some odor type issues that we remove those. But they remain on the front portion, which we're proposing to flip it to a straight C2. At the public meeting, there was no one speaking in opposition to it. The only individual who attended the public meeting was the owner and obviously spoke in favor of her application. So there is a bylaw that is included on council agenda for consideration later on in the meeting.
Councillor Elliott, go ahead.
Entrances into the different areas, do you have to have one entrance, or they don't always allow you to have two entrances off the?
So that is within the Clifford urban boundary. So that would be up to our Public Works Department to determine. At this point, the owners don't have a development target for it. It's been for sale for approximately 2 years, but with the limited permitted uses, basically just a golf driving range, the developers who are interested in it don't want to take the risk on the rezoning application. So the owners are kind of preempting that to open up the more development potential on the site.
So we would have access, they have access anywhere at the back.
So currently we do have stubs to like sanitary and water to the middle of that parcel along Elora Street. But they could have the potential of severing off 1 or 2 lots across the front. It could be developed as a large development. We don't know at this point, but they do have varying options.
Okay, thanks.
Other questions? So basically, this zoning is, it's looking into the future and making this more saleable. Okay,
Absolutely.
thank you. So, not sure if I read the recommendation here, but I'm going to read it again. Moved by Councillor Zimmerman, seconded by Councillor Potnovitz, the council of the town of Minto receives the County of Wellington Planning Report regarding zoning bylaw amendment for 84 Elora Street North, Clifford, for information, and further that the council of the town of Minto considers passing a bylaw in open council. There's no other questions. I'm going to call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to move along to Public Works 2024-015 tender results for the reconstruction of Derby Street in Palmerston. I'm going to ask our Mr. Mike McIsaac, Manager of Roads and Drainage, to speak on this.
Thank you, Mayor Turton and Council. So yeah, this report is just regarding the tender results for the reconstruction of Derby Street from Toronto Street to York, which includes replacement of aging water main, sanitary, storm, curb and gutter, and then the installation of sidewalks from end to end. With an additional provisional item to include the water main replacement on the next section of Derby Street up to Cumberland, which would eliminate all of the AC asbestos cement pipe in that area town. The tender results did come in competitively with receiving 3 bids, all within $60,000 of each other. But some of the main reasons for the increased pricing on this project is typical storm sewers, usually in a setting like this, would run at 1.5 to 2 meters in depth, which in this area we're getting into ranges of 3.5 meters of depth. As well as this is the first project that we've had to do with the new Ontario regulations around excess soils, which requires a lot more testing based on the amount of materials coming out of the current road base, and proper disposal of that, which is increasing the cost roughly $250,000 at this point. Is there any questions?
Yes. We have a recommendation by Councillor Dirksen, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that the Council of the Town of Minto receives report Public Works 2024-015 regarding tender results, reconstruction of Derby Street, Palmerston, that the town's 2024 capital budget be amended by $670,000 to include additional funding for the Derby Street reconstruction project, with funding provided from the Wastewater Capital Reserve, the Water Capital Reserve, and the OCIF Reserve, and that the Council of the Town of Minto awards contract number 6646-24, reconstruction of Derby Street, Palmerston, to Steve Nevins Limited for a tender price of $2,449,000, excluding HST. Questions? Go ahead, Councillor Elliott.
Just curious, did you have many people apply to the tender?
We had 10 plan takers, but only 3 submissions.
3 submissions,
Yeah.
and were they close?
Yeah, all 3 submissions that we received were all within $60,000 of each other. So
we're
very,
right-
very tight.
We obviously are right around the money that it's
Yeah.
going to cost.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry, Councillor Pottenmitz, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mayor Turton. There was no grant opportunities for this project at all?
Just the OCIF, our annual dollar amount from the province.
Our treasurer is working on that, right, Treasurer Duff?
I keep trying.
So, yeah, okay. So I'm going to call the question. Before, when are we, what's the timing on this, Mike?
The finish date in the contract is the end of October, but with a little bit later, I could see them going into November, which it shouldn't be an issue.
Curbs, gutters, everything?
Yeah.
And that's,
Sidewalk, yeah.
that's basically, what is that, half a meter? Half of a kilometer, pardon me?
Yeah, it's almost 500 meters in total length there. Yeah.
$2.5 million.
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor of the motion? That's carried, just like that, eh? Okay. Next item on the agenda is finance 2024 sorry, I'm going to pass the chair to Councillor Dirksen.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Turton. And we have 2 items on the finance agenda this evening, and I'm going to turn it over to Treasurer Duff to take us through the first one.
Great. Thank you, Chair Dirksen. So the first one, after the summer weekend we just had, I feel ancient history. I'm talking about the first quarter of the year and mostly winter activities. So on the revenue side, we're collecting property taxes quite well, 96% of the theoretical amount. For expenditures, we're about 22%. Again, there's always a bit of a lag in expenditures. And for water and sewer, we're at 20% and 25%. The revenue is a lot easier to predict. And we have more detailed tables that break it down. Again, our expenditures are running slightly below an even quarter, but again, that's to be expected. It was a relatively mild winter. However, we still have to do patrols, and sometimes those temperatures around the freezing mark are just as costly as a good dump of snow in cold weather. So our operating budgets are running as expected, and I think it's most useful to look at how were we last year and 2 years ago, and you can see that we're relatively tight, probably slightly lower on expenditures to date. And for water and sewer, we're like incredibly like right on 0.1% variation in 3 years. Capital, again, a lot of your things in the first quarter are just getting underway. There's not a lot of construction going on, but we still continue to do design and engineering. As you recall, our capital budget is pretty lean this year, largely due to the lack of these large grants. We basically have our OCIF and our federal gas tax, which is now the Canada Building Fund. So some of our major priorities that we have been doing is our strategic plan consulting. We've renewed much of our personal protective equipment in our fire department. Public Works, the aforementioned Derby Street, we're spending on the engineering. Again, our very large project that's coming up in a couple of years, Main Street Palmerston reconstruction. So we continue to do design and engineering. And we completed the bulk of the Sipe Lane project, which was outlined last year. Wastewater, you're going to see a theme, and water, Derby Street engineering. And we've had to spend a bit on large pump replacements. We continue to do the well explorations and a bit more work on finally implementing the Minto Pines new well. For recreation, again, the master plan consulting and certain smaller building repairs. Economic development, again, the master plan, the consulting, and some entrance sign replacement, which you may have noticed has been finished and largely covered by insurance. So we'll probably be back in a couple of months with a little more accurate report on the second quarter, but happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions for Treasurer Duff? Mayor Turton?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The 96% taxes received after the first quarter, just some late payers there, is that what
There's
I
a few. We're still trending below average, like counterintuitively during the COVID shutdown, our tax arrears decreased. And I think that was because people couldn't spend their money anywhere else, and there were other government supports in that. So I think no one in the municipal finance sector was predicting that. We were thinking, oh, people won't be able to pay, but actually it worked the opposite. And now I'd say we're returning to more normal times. So still, we keep an eye on it, but we're still below the average.
It's pretty amazing as well, the tax supported operating budgets, how they're the same over the last 3 years. They're almost a mirror image of each other.
It is funny, eh? Yeah.
Any other questions? Yeah, I'll read the recommendation. Moved by Councillor Zimmerman and seconded by Councillor Elliott that Council of the Town of Minto receives Finance Report 2024-007 regarding the 2024 first quarter financial review. All in favor? Thank you, that carries. And we'll move on to the second item for finance tonight.
And actually, you may recall it's been almost 5 months since we passed our budget. We're just now passing the tax rating bylaw, primarily because we, again, as a lower tier, we have to rely on policies passed by the upper tier, which is the county, and Councillor Anderson's very familiar with this. So they had their last meeting at the end of April, and then they passed the policies, which generally mean what are the tax ratios, are there any other shifts between the assessment classes? And again, we're in this assessment freeze that I think we're into the 8th year of the 4-year cycle and no end in sight. So now that we have all the bylaws from the upper tiers, we're in a position to pass our own tax rating bylaw, and that will enable us to finalize the taxes, which will be set out in early August. And again, there's no change. We have our due dates at the end of September and the end of November. So again, if there's any questions, take them.
Any questions for our treasurer? Okay, seeing none, I will read the recommendation. Moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson and seconded by Councillor Elliott. The Council of the Town of Minto receives Finance Report 2024-008 regarding the 2024 tax rating bylaw and consider passing bylaw 2024-029 in open session. All in favor? Thank you. That carries, and I'll pass the chair back to the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dirksen. The next item on our agenda is Clerk CL 2024-005, the draft commemorative policy.
Thank you.
Linda, sorry, Annaline, go ahead.
That's all right. Thank you, Mayor Turton. Just a quick review, give you a little bit of background history on this. As a part of the July 11th Council agenda in 2023, correspondence was received from the Minto Pride Committee with a request for the installation of the banners. Staff advised that a report would come forward. So in September, a report came forward regarding the Minto Pride Committee banner proposal, and a motion was passed by Council that the Council of Town of Minto approve the staff proposal. That proposal included the installation of 4 banners in each downtown, 2 at each of the entrances. Also, as a part of that, the report noted that staff would prepare and bring back a policy on the use of banner arms at a later date. That is this coming forward now. So just a few different comments. Staff do their reports and do their policies in accordance with what has been set by council. A part of council, what they have set is our strategic plan. So in following our strategic plan and in following the motions that have been passed by council, I have made the commemoration policy draft for your consideration. I'm not sure if you want me to review any of the items that are on there. It's all available online. The attached policy sets criteria and procedures for proclamations, for flag protocols, and for displaying of alternative flags, for mayoral certificates, and a new downtown banner program. It'll be replacing the current flag policy that we have in place. And it incorporates the current policy for the commemorative benches and tree program that is currently run and that would continue the same. So it's all there. If you have any questions, I would
Thank
gladly
you,
answer.
Annaline. So it's moved by Councillor Dirksen, seconded by Councillor Zimmerman. The Council of Town of Minto receives the report CL 2024-005 regarding the draft commemorative policy. That council provide feedback to staff on the draft commemoration policy, and that staff brings back a final draft commemoration policy at a future meeting for council consideration. So if there's questions for Annaline this evening, go ahead, Councillor Elliott.
So the opportunity to give comments and what we think should bring forward to, is that what you would look for?
That is what I'm looking for, comments in order to bring a new draft forward to you that will incorporate any of your changes that you would like to see.
So first of all, the policy to commemorate different requests, and at the bottom you have diversity, equality, inclusion, and then you sort of repeat yourself again. Policy specify the town have pride and truth and reconciliation. We've already dealt with that up there, so we're already saying that we're going to include that. So again, we're doing it twice, so I'm not sure whether.
What page you on, Councillor Elliott? What page
Can
you
you
on?
tell me what page, please?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have pages on
It
mine.
says at the bottom.
Should say page 1 of 10 or 2
No.
of 10.
I think it's page 3.
I have e-scribe, so which doesn't do page 1 or 2 or 3 or 7 or 12. Straight up, it's the, yeah, you people deal with policy. I deal with, there's no one. So I'm dealing with, I would say, page,
What's the title?
Are you looking at my report? Are you looking at the report or are you looking at the actual draft?
I believe it's a draft. That's all I have.
That's the report.
No, it's in the report. It's on page 3.
Page 3 of the
I don't have a
report,
page
yeah.
3. I got.
That's not the draft, yeah.
So where's the draft then? I've only got one.
It should be after the report.
Within
We
the
should be-
policy, staff will recommend the town commemorate requests to promote charitable fundraising campaigns, arts and culture, significant events and achievements, historical events, diversity, equality, inclusion, and so on. Staff further recommend the town commemorate requests that involve.
Will not commemorate.
Yes,
Yes.
political parties. Now you know what I mean?
Yes, that's within our, that's within my report. That's not within the policy itself.
Okay, so why is this here then?
It's just to give you an overview.
So where's the policy?
Right below it.
Next one, Nick.
Okay, I'm not dark here. All right, there we go.
So do you have a specific
Where,
question?
I still can't find the policy.
Sorry, I can
Okay. There. Okay.
Yep.
So that's why, see, you're.
Yeah, page 1 of 10. There we go, okay.
Okay. So all those are going to be included in this. I did see that you're only going to allow 4, or we are, per community. I don't think you should put a number on it. I think it should be coming as a request.
Right.
Okay,
So,
because you may have a group that have, like the Legion, for example, have all the polls filled, but it might have a group that comes and says, we have 6 or 7 that we'd like to bring forth in our community. So instead of.
Through.
Yeah,
you,
go
Mayor
ahead.
Turton.
Yep.
You, because you should
Yep.
tell community me, I don't know what's.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Turton. So you're asking, at this point in time, it says they may request a minimum of 4 downtown banners with a maximum of 12 banners, which is 4 per community. So we are saying 4 per community, and you're saying that you'd like to see.
I don't think you should put a number on it.
No number on
As
it?
a request comes in, we deal with the request at the time.
So people could request all 12
And they could, and then we can decide.
in the down, like, okay.
We could decide whether you want to do that or whether you don't. I don't think you handicap any one group to 4. Why would you do that?
I think the point of the 4 is you want an even number for one thing, just so it's evenly. This is what staff had discussed, and I can just provide you this information. You would put like 2 and 2, like 1 at each end of the towns. And then, the
So
next
what if
the next
somebody
people will
wa-
come along, and then we put 2 and 2, and then 2 and 2. And right now, there's also downtown banners, and so we don't want to
you
restrict from any downtown banners that the
I get it.
Palmerston all aboard and all that have up either. So if we say
You
all,
use the polls that are available, we can deal with it when the day comes. To handicap people too, for example, I was talking about the Lions, they may, right now, that person who's dealing with it has already talked to 6 different people. And I've talked to 1 or 2, and so we're talking about 8 that probably would go up in the town of Palmerston and not in Harrison, so, I mean, they're gonna come with a request for 8, and you're gonna say, no, you can only have 4. I don't think that's right.
So that's what this is about, Councillor Elliott, is feedback. So,
Yep.
I think so, and that's why I brought that forward.
mhm.
Yeah.
Councillor Potnovitz, go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Turton. There was a comment I heard earlier today about these banners being put up at the expense of the taxpayers. I think we should put something in there that if we want banners put up, we should have something included in our policy that they pay to put them up and to take them down.
Thank you, Councillor Potnovitz. Anything else to add? Councillor Dirksen, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Turton. So I have a question about the policy, and then I have some question about the policy, and then I have some comments.
The floor is yours.
Bedtime
Go
here.
ahead.
So the question is on page 7 of the policy, item number 6, it states that the town will provide for up to 3 groups /12 banners per community per year. So what if there's a group that wants two banners? then could there be 6 groups with two flags each, for instance? Like 12 is our maximum, and that still leaves room, I'm assuming, for our red maple leaf and red colored banners, because nobody wants to call that a flag.
Yep.
And the downtown banners as well. So you're saying we have 12 empty spots that we could allow other groups to use, is that correct?
Correct. So the banner arms that we are speaking about are in the downtown core.
Yes.
They're not on the outskirts where you currently see the Canada flag ones. They are like in your downtown core. If you allowed more than 12, I think we had discussed that it all depends on how many banner arms there are in each municipality. Some have less than others. Palmerston has less in their downtown core than Harrison would. I think there's 28, there was 16 in Palmerston. I mean, I could get those numbers for you. I think the reason we were capping them at 12 is we didn't want to take away from our downtown downtown groups.
Yes,
That
exactly,
put
and
them-
that's why I was asking the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
think that's important.
Yeah.
And I know not everybody likes those, I'm going to call them Canada banners because they're not
Mhm.
flags, but I think they're important too, because it's impossible to hang flags there, so those banners are the next best thing, and I think it's important that we have those there too. So then, just some comments. So this policy, it needs to meet the spirit of the strategic plan. I think we would all agree on that. But there is a sense, I think, that the only way to promote that acceptance in our community is through pride, and that seems to be rather short-sighted. Goal 4 of the strategic plan states that we will foster a welcoming, accessible, understanding community where your family belongs. And the report today notes that the goal is to promote a climate of understanding and mutual respect. And I don't think there's anybody around this table that would argue with any of that. But it seems that we've attempted to do all of this through pride decor. And keeping Minto a welcoming community shouldn't be dependent on decorations. Now, to be clear, I'm not a fan of totally neutral spaces, because that's I don't believe that's the answer yet, but somebody might correct me on that yet. Acceptance and friendliness and getting along starts with every resident in their own neighborhood. It might mean checking in on a neighbor, taking a batch of cookies to someone up the street, going beyond your property line with your lawnmower, picking up something at the grocery store for a shut-in. Those are the kinds of things that make Minto a friendly community, or anywhere else, really. The pride flag and other pride decor may be the international symbol of inclusivity, but there are certainly other ways and maybe better ways to promote acceptance in our community. So I'd really challenge the Cultural Roundtable and the Pride Committee to come up with some other ideas. Maybe endorse a monthly Good Neighbor Day or something. I don't know. We need to. You might not want to clap yet. So there are 3 things that I wanted to see in this policy. So number 1, and you met this, was that our Canada flag and our provincial flag and our Minto flag would be allowed to be flown up front here on the main poles at our town office and our facilities, and any other flag to be flown only on the community flagpole here at our town of Minto office. Correct. So you got top marks for that one. That I really appreciate. The second was that every group be treated the same and that they all have a say. The policy states that alternate, should it be alternate or alternative? I'm not sure of the right grammar there, but anyways, are raised for 1 week, whereas Pride and Truth and Reconciliation flags get a month. So that's not quite fair as far as I can do the math. And also there's, be careful. And as I understand it, shouldn't start nodding your head too soon. I learned that a really long time ago. As I understand it, there's no application required for pride flags and for pride banners, but maybe I'm wrong on that. They do have to.
I will answer your last question first, if I may.
Yes,
Sure.
go ahead.
You, Mayor Turton.
Yep.
The banners, they do have to apply.
Okay, all right. So
The only thing that we would, that is written into here is that pride flags for the month of June and Truth and Reconciliation for the month of September on our community poll, and other people would apply then for the weeks that they are requesting.
Right, okay. And then lastly, if this policy is truly to encourage diversity, equity, inclusion, then it would follow, I think, that the list of organizations that may be denied requests for banners, flags, and benches should not include religious organizations. And I think Councillor Elliott was kind of going there. This is noted at the bottom of page 2 in the policy. What if the churches in Clifford, for instance, get together and fill out an application, follow all the rules for the size of the banner and so on and so forth, and they develop a banner with the words, love your neighbor, or love one another, or be kind? A message such as that fits perfectly in our strategic plan, and yet the policy states that these requests may be denied by the town. It's interesting, the report states that these requests would not be approved, and then the policy says may be denied, so. But I really like that line taken out of there. Under criteria on page 2 of the policy, the second bullet point states arts and cultural celebrations would be considered. In the very next section, the policy states the town reserves the right to deny requests that involve religious organizations. I would suggest that the faith community is alive and well in Minto and an important part of our culture.
Thank you.
On page 3 of the report, and again on page 6 of the policy, staff note that the inclusive flag is an international symbol of inclusivity, acknowledging and respecting all people regardless of, there's a whole list of things, and religion is one of them. So how can we list the faith community, which is without a doubt part of the cultural fabric of Minto, as an organization that may be denied the same privilege as everyone else? When it comes back to us for future vote, I'd really like to see that changed in our policy.
Thank you.
So in the beginning, the pride symbol was created to represent certain sexual preferences. Colors have been added, I would suggest to make it more palatable to all of us, to the symbol, to the pride symbol, that just about everyone, no matter what, is included. I don't believe that the pride symbol, the pride flag, the inclusivity flag, whatever you want to call it, I don't think it's going away. But I think those who respect it and those who don't respect it need to all move a little. And I'm really hoping that we can respect each other going forward.
Okay.
This kept me up a lot of nights, just so you know.
I found where I let.
Yay.
And it wasn't where it was, but it was on another page. But I noticed in our policy, we deal with A, the inclusive flag and the international symbol for inclusivity, which is, we've shown as council that we do support that. And a flag honoring Indigenous heritage, Pride Month go up, and we do support that. But why are we putting that in our policy? Well, when anybody else has to come to us and ask. So how do we not assume that the Lions Club are going to be that? Let's put them in there as C and or D. And I don't think we need that in there. I think we just, anybody that comes to us, we'll deal with it at the time that we deal with it. And they ask to have whatever they need to have it done. But to have it in this policy, I don't think one group or any group should be included in a policy that's supposed to be for everyone. And I also believe if we put
Ron, pardon me, Councillor Elliott, can Annaleen
Can I
just
just ask a
answer your
clarifying
question?
question on that? If you were saying like the pride and the truth and reconciliation, take that out. And so just to clarify, maybe keep it as we have in our current flag policy where they apply. Is that kind of what you're
just the
looking
same as
at?
anyone else.
Yeah, so like our current
Each year
policy?
they say
Okay.
they would come forward and ask to have it.
Yep.
Have it brought forward like anyone else might have to, but to have it in a yearly thing, I don't think it's fair to have one group included when another group would come to us next week and say, we want to be included on that once a year too, so.
Yep.
That's the way I see it.
Thank you for the clarification.
Timeline.
The other one is,
is 4 months. Is that true for applying to?
For for the flags,
Yep.
it's like 3 weeks prior. In our current policy, I believe we asked for 4 weeks.
Okay, so we should probably not include that, but include that they could apply. Also, I would like to see a timeline of, I know you put a timeline in, but I think 1 month per group that apply to put either a flag or a banner up, no longer than a month. And if we go along with Councillor Podnowitz's idea, they will pay to put them up and they'll pay to put them down. I totally agree with that. And then it's done on the taxpayers' dime.
Yeah. You finished, Councillor Elliott,
I
for
think
now?
so.
For
I
now?
found my way. I just, okay.
Deputy Mayor Anderson.
I just have a couple of questions. So the inclusivity flag and the Indigenous Month flag, are they mandated by the government or is that a separate choice for each municipality?
Yes, they are not mandated by
Okay.
any government.
So who declared the inclusive pride flag as the international symbol? Somebody must have stood behind that decision, a power higher than us. Anybody know?
I'm just going to tell you that this is policies that have come to us from all over Ontario that we've
Okay.
taken bits and pieces of, tried to create one for council to review. Again, this is not policy. This policy is not in effect. This is just for your consideration and for questioning.
No, I understand that. I just didn't know if there was a bigger background, like that it was all of Canada wide, that that's the flag you have to use, or it's.
I can do more research on
Yeah,
that and get back to you
I'd
on
be
that. if
just
you'd like.
interested in knowing that, what's the background of it.
Yep.
The other comment I want to make, it's not a question, is that people are describing the pride flag as an indicator of their sexuality. It is not. LGBTQ community, no, it's not. LGBTQ community is describing people that have gender inequality issues or gender, and this is a farming community. So I'll give you an example. If you have a cow that has two calves, one's a bull, one's a heifer. The heifer will never be fertile, or 95%, Stefan corrected that for me. Because the male hormones, and we have people, and I've seen them in my medical practice, and people see them, they are clearly in the wrong body. Through none of their own doing, and we know now, because people know they're pregnant the day they get pregnant, how many twin pregnancies are lost. Because that other twin gets absorbed by the first twin, the larger twin, they have communications and blood flow between the two of them, and people are just in the wrong body. They can't help it. For years, they hid because of fear of persecution. It was illegal. The man who invented our current day computers was imprisoned because he was gay after he developed Bletchley Park and helped us win World War II. This is not their fault. It shouldn't be a reason for criminalization, discrimination, or anything else. But
So we're talking.
so
the
the-
banner.
just to clarify what the flag indicates, people need to understand exactly what it's showing. It's showing inclusivity of all kinds of things, but that's neither here nor there. I was just interested in the history of it. Similar to Councillor Elliott, though, the thing where it says they can only be replaced 3 times a year, like the banners, can it be changed to that they could be up? Like there could be a different group every month if that was indicated or needed
think
based
that's
on
what-
however many groups
Yep.
want to come
I
forward?
think that's what Councillor
Okay.
Elliott was saying,
Yep.
yeah.
Thank you.
Other questions? Sorry, Councillor Zimmerman, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just reading through here. I see no mention of the wrappings of the posts. Is there going to be any ruling on that as well?
Anything on that, Annalee?
That's not part of the policy at all.
So I really think that that was one of the reasons why the banners were created, because of the wrappings, if that's what you're calling them, were abused, torn down, whatever. So I just want to be clear on this draft policy. That's exactly what it is. It's a draft. And if you have other thoughts over the next week or 2 or 3, whatever, please discuss them, send them to Annalee or whatever. Okay? All right, so I think I did read.
I don't remember now.
Okay.
Sorry.
So this recommendation is moved by Councillor Dirksen, seconded by Councillor Zimmerman. The Council of the Town of Minto receives report clerk 2024-005 regarding the draft commemorative, yeah, I did read it.
Yes.
Commemoration
Yes.
policy that council, maybe I'll get it right this time, that the council provide feedback to staff on the draft commemoration policy and that staff bring back a final draft commemoration policy at a future meeting for council consideration. All in favor of the motion? That's carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're now into announcements. Councillor Elliott, you want to go first?
You know what? I have nothing to announce. Hard to believe, eh? Oh, wait a minute. I do. Fargo Park.
Okay, go
June
ahead.
8th, we have a walk-up. Lions also have a dog walk on June the 8th also. So anybody who wants to support the dog walk, they can get a hold of any Lions member and they'll get you on that report. The other one is just a good time had by all. Money will go back to the community. Thanks.
I know what you're saying, Councillor Potnovich. I should start with you next year. You can, or next week, you can give the Lions reports.
I have
You-
nothing.
Anything? No? Councillor Dirksen?
I have nothing this time, thanks.
Councillor.
Oh, yeah, just a friendly reminder, Saturday, June 1st is the Harrison Firefighters Annual Pancake Breakfast, 7 to 11-ish. Guaranteed to be good weather, and I think Jean has some more information on that day as well.
Exactly. So immediately following the breakfast or before the breakfast, whichever way you'd like to wear the lineups, the garden festival is happening at the pavilion, the Harrison Garden Festival. I think we have some 25 vendors, some new ones this year. There will be activities for the kids. Vic Palmer's coming down from Clifford to do, I believe, a talk on the monarch butterflies, and each child will get a kit to take back with a cocoon to follow development of, because we'd like to support our monarchs. And this weekend, Saturday, or the starting Wednesday, is the Sparks Conference. I don't know if everybody's registered or not registered or planning on going, but the town. And I'm not sure whether people can sign up last notice, but you can come out and check out Violets in the Barn, because we're having the 3 winning play readings there on Saturday afternoon. Butter tarts to be available, presumably, depending if I have enough time, and refreshments. And that's it. Just lots going on in the communities.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Anderson, I just wanted to say as well that last Thursday we had 5 open houses in grand openings of new businesses in Palmerston and Harrison. And I should have brought the list to announce them all, but I have not got it. If anybody else has it, I will do that after a couple of these other items that I want to say. May is Building Safety Month, and the building department in our municipality, and obviously all municipalities, enforces the building code by examining building plans and specifications, issuing permits, and performing inspections through the various stages of construction. So the town of Minto is lucky to have our chief building official, Mr. Terry Kuipers, and he's got, we have 3, I should stay on here. The town of Minto is lucky to have 3 dedicated and knowledgeable building officials who work to ensure that all of the building in our community are safe for our residents. So Terry, please let your people know how much we appreciate them, and you hear all kinds of great comments about our building department in Minto, how excellent you are to get along with while you're applying all the rules. And I know we talk about health and safety. That's likely your largest mandate, to make sure that all these buildings are put up to a state where safety is most important. So please take that back to your folks.
Thank you.
So May 6th to May 10th is Economic Development Week. Our Economic Development Week seeks to recognize and honor and celebrate the ingenuity and the leadership practitioners have shown in working to create a more equitable and prosperous future for everyone. Town of Minto Economic Development Team is led by Belinda Wick Graham, and we have 3 passionate and creative individuals who work hard to create a more economically vibrant and livable community for everyone. So on behalf of council, Belinda, please express our gratitude to your staff. And this is also May 5th to May 11th is Municipal Clerks Week. Professional Municipal Clerks Week honors municipal clerks around the world for the vital role They play in local government. The town of Minto has one clerk and one deputy clerk who serve as the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at all levels. And I could likely add on there, council. So, Annaleen, the same to you. Please, and Quinn, express our gratitude. Public Works Week is May 19th to the 25th. National Public Work Week is an annual week-long celebration of the essential public services rendered by infrastructure, construction, and operation staff. Town of Minto is lucky to have a department made up of dedicated individuals, including our road and drainage manager, public works clerk, development technician, town landscape coordinator, and equipment operators. This week provides an important opportunity to recognize and acknowledge the achievements of the town of Minto public works staff. So Mike, please pass our thanks along to your folks, and I've heard it here tonight about taking an active role in when there's complaints, you get out there and solve them. So I would say that all our staff does that. So thank you very much on behalf of council.
It's okay, Mayor Turton, I found it. I think that screen's gone black on you.
Yes, it is.
So
Thank you.
on Thursday last week, there were openings at Lost Angels Barbershop in Palmerston, also Golden Tree Cannabis in Palmerston, and in Harrison Homestyle Bites and Catering, Nadur, which is up at Launchet, and A to Z, which has recently moved out of Launchet into their own store.
Thank you.
No problem.
So the last item, I'd like to, finally, the flags of the town of Minto outside of our office remain at half-mast until Friday in honor of a former mayor of both the town of Palmerston and the town of Minto, Mayor David Burns. David showcased his passion for politics and his love for the community through his time in leadership and will be clearly missed by his former staff, as well as his family, friends, and the community at large. May he rest in peace. He was a wonderful guy. Anything else? Okay. Then we're going to move along. I've got a next resolution is moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Potnovitz, that the Committee of Whole convene into regular council. All in favor of that motion? That's carried. Notices of motion. Is there anything? Notices of motion, hearing none, then we'll move along to the next resolution, moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Zimmerman, that the Council of the Town of Minto ratifies the motions made in the Committee of the Whole. All in favor of that motion? That's carried, thank you. Bylaws is next, moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Potnovitz, that bylaws 2024-027, 2024-028, and 2024-029 be read a first, second, and third time and passed in open council, sealed with the seal of the corporation. All in favor of the motion? It's carried. Thank you. Confirmation 2024-030, moved by Councillor Dirksen, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that bylaw 2024-030 to confirm the actions of the council of the corporation of the town of Minto respecting a meeting held May 21st, 24, be read a first, second, and third time and passed in open council, sealed with the seal of the corporation. All in favor of that? That's carried. Adjournment. Again, I would just like to thank everybody. It's been a very long meeting, but it's been worth it. And thank you for coming, and you're welcome back anytime. So adjournment, moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Dirksen, that the Council of the Town of Minto adjourn to meet again at the call of the mayor. All in favor of the motion? It's carried. Thank you.